We've been testing top 5 drones of 2024, digging deep into the latest flavors of AMD processor and video graphics silicon, and we know which notebooks sing and which are just tone deaf. We're not just talking about sleek, expensive new machines. Either we've picked a range of top 5 drones of 2024 at different price points to highlight, which give you the best bang for buck and which are just outright awesome. To help you find the right model, we've listed the top 5 drones of 2024 and their key features, plus the things you need to consider to help you choose the best one for you, and as always, you can check pricing for any of these products in the description below. Like the video, comment, and don't forget to subscribe. Now let's get started. Number 5. DJI Inspire 3. The DJI Inspire 3 is a drone that I had actually given up hope on ever seeing. The Inspire 2 was released way back in 2016. The hot camera that year was the Nikon D500. To give you some perspective, and progress with UAVs has been incredibly rapid since then. This episode is brought to you by Sense Labs. Sense Labs is a global company providing best-in-class digital drawing solutions enabling creative professionals to expand their creativity and enhance productivity. Sense Labs is giving artists a new creative choice with its Pen Display 24 Studio Series. The new drawing display joins the company's full line of professional digital design tools. Visit senselabs.com to learn more. With the smaller DJI drones becoming much more capable and the larger units all being designed to support a dedicated camera, it looked like DJI had abandoned pilots looking for an all-in-one, truly professional option. Then, a month ago, the Inspire 3 was announced. Oddly, I had a taste of what the Inspire 3 would offer a couple years ago. When I tested the DJI Ronin 4D, this 4-axis gimbal combined with a full-frame cinema camera was the introduction of the Zenmuse X9 gimbal, housing a full-frame sensor that accepted several of DJI's DL mount lenses. I love using the Ronin 4D, but it seemed odd that this technology was making its debut on land rather than in the air, DJI's fort. With the announcement of the Inspire 3, I was impressed by the feature set, but also stunned at the dramatic price increase. After spending time with the unit, DJI's decisions make a lot of sense if you accept that the Inspire 3 is targeting a much smaller user base than the Inspire 2 did. First, I am not a UAV pilot. While I have flown several consumer DJI projects for the odd establishing shot, I do not have the permits required to fly these big guys in Canadian airspace. That's why I contacted Arden Shibley, a working pilot for the film and television industry, to help give me some practical perspective on how the Inspire 3 could fit into a professional workflow. He's now flown the Inspire 3 extensively, and will have several YouTube episodes coming out about his experiences on the Yellow House Aerial YouTube channel. Be sure to check them out. Number 4. Autel Evo Max 4T. These days, drones are aimed at a wide range of uses with specific features that will appeal to different pilots. Although many professional pilots use consumer drones for professional work, some high-end alternatives are available that deliver enterprise-level features and functionality, and the Autel Evo Max 4T is one of these models. The Autel Evo Max 4T is larger and heavier than medium-sized consumer and prosumer drones such as the DJI Mavic 3 and the Autel Evo Lite Plus, coming in at a weight of 3.57 ohms/1620 g. That said, it's much smaller and lighter than many professional models, so it's far from the most cumbersome option available, and this in itself is an advantage in certain situations. So it's safe to say that the Evo Max 4T is one of the best drones available for emergency services, search and rescue, and surveying/mapping. With 3 cameras, including a wide-angle zoom and an infrared camera alongside a laser rangefinder, imaging is at the forefront of this drone's capabilities, although it's certainly not aimed at photographers or videographers. What's more, it's IP43 rated for dust and water resistance and offers advanced collision avoidance, anti-interference, and mapping capabilities, to name but a few features, making this a highly capable drone for professional drone pilots. The Max 4T is a large and heavy drone in consumer terms, but for an enterprise model, it's quite compact and lightweight with a folded size of 10.1 x 5.71 x 5.16 in /257 145 x 131 millimeters and an unfolded size of 12.52 x 15.75 x 5.79 in /318 400 x 147 millimeters, excluding propellers. The folding element makes it easier to transport and store, but with a weight of 3.57 ohms/1620, before you factor in the smart controller and the hard case, is still a fairly hefty drone kit. The Max 4T needs to be this size because the gimbal and camera it carries are larger than consumer drones and is home to 3 cameras including a wide angle, a zoom and infrared camera, and a laser rangefinder. The camera and gimbal are also interchangeable, so you can use the camera from the Autel EVO Max 4 without having to purchase a second drone and vice versa. With this size and weight comes more power and respectable flight times, which is necessary considering the intended use cases for the Max 4T. The maximum wind resistance is 27 miles per hour, and the drone's maximum speed is 51 miles per hour in ludicrous mode, 42 miles per hour in EU regions. During testing, the Max 4T was flown in wind gusts of over 30 miles per hour and didn't once skip a beat. Advertised flight times are up to 42 minutes, but during testing, wind gusts were well over 20 miles per hour, which naturally requires more power. Flights were coming in at around 26 minutes before return to home was initiated once the battery level reached 20%. This is respectable considering the conditions and suggests that lower wind speeds would allow for increased flight times. Number 3. DJI Mavic 3 Classic. With the release of the new Mavic 3 Classic, DJI finally has a more affordable prosumer option that brings some advanced features to more people. As a standalone unit without a remote controller, it's practically half the price of the Mavic 3 standard Fly More combo, retailing for $1,469. For $1,599, you can get it with DJI's RC-N1 remote. While you don't get the dual camera systems that made the Mavic 3 and 3 scene stand out, you get a capable drone with a lot to offer. If you're not familiar with the Mavic 3 series, we've already covered the premium scene model in great detail. The Classic features near identical specs, with the exception of its camera, reduced internal storage space, and no Apple ProRes 422 HQ codec. If you don't need the ability to zoom in on objects up to 28x digitally, the Classic gives you almost everything else that comes with the standard Mavic 3. The camera is shaped the same as previous Mavic 3 models, but doesn't have a telephoto lens on top. A new feature DJI introduced with this release is cruise control. Like its name suggests, this sets the drone to a constant speed so remote pilots can focus on capturing the shot instead of flying. The Classic is one step above DJI's Air 2S, which has a 20MP Type 1 CMOS sensor plus shorter flight time, and a half step down from the Mavic 3 standard and scene models. Those wanting a variable aperture and longer flight time might consider upgrading from an Air 2S, while others who are prioritizing zoom capabilities or Apple's ProRes 422 HQ, high quality, codec will likely feel that the Classic is more than satisfactory for many scenarios. In terms of remote controllers, the Mavic 3 Classic is compatible with DJI's RC Remote, which was introduced with the Mini 3 Pro, the DJI RC, which debuted and comes with the Mavic 3 Scene and the RC-N1. DJI is offering the Classic as a standalone unit under the assumption that most customers already own one of these remotes. The DJI RC retails for $309, the RC Pro is $1,199, and the RC-N1 is included with a variety of DJI drone models including the Mini 2, Air 2S, Mini 3 Pro, and standard Mavic 3. This is the drone DJI should have released a year ago. It makes a huge difference to operate a drone with a camera that is fully functional, without the teething issues of the initial Mavic 3 models. I also noticed that the colors are truly vibrant, accurate, and much more appealing to the eye than when I first flew my scene test unit a year back. Ongoing development and firmware updates have certainly made a difference. Number 2. Skydio 2 Plus. There will neither be the perfect drone for everyone. There are too many different reasons for owning a drone. Some like to race, some like to shoot sweeping cinematic masterpieces, and some want to follow fast-paced action. What makes a drone good at one thing often makes it not so great for another. That said, if you're after speed and maneuverability, the Skydio 2 Plus is darn near perfect. It does have some shortcomings, which I'll get to below, but the tracking and collision avoidance software in the Skydio 2 Plus are better than anything else I've used by an order of magnitude. Best of all, Skydio wraps this sophistication in an incredibly simple, easy-to-use flight control system. Skydio started out with the R1, a drone that was impressive in its feature set. It was fully automated, no controller necessary, but prohibitively expensive and seemingly aimed more at the enterprise market. The company followed that up with the Skydio 2, which brought the price down and added more consumer-friendly features. The Skydio 2 had two pain points. It could stay aloft for only about 20 minutes, and many people had trouble keeping the drone connected to Wi-Fi at the farther edges of its limited range, 3.5 kilometers in the first version. The Skydio 2 Plus hardware update addresses those two issues with a bigger, more powerful battery and two pop-up antennas, which increase the drone's range and provide a stronger signal. The two hardware changes are minor but welcome, and the 2 Plus is all that Skydio is selling now. However, if you bought the 2, don't worry. The best of what's new in software will still work for you. And on this drone, what's really impressive is the software. That said, I do wish Skydio had improved the camera. The 1/2 3-inch sensor is capable of 4K footage at 60 frames per second, which is fine for the average user, but flying it next to the higher resolution camera in the Autel Evo Lite Plus 7/10 Wired recommends really showed how last generation the Skydio camera is. If image quality is your main concern, get the DJI Air 2S 9/10 Wired recommends or Evo Lite Plus. The Skydio 2 Plus produces great video results, but given how far ahead of the competition the rest of this drone is, it's disappointing that the camera isn't similarly ahead. I also found the white balance to be less than stellar. You can adjust it in the app, but there's no support for log video like DJI's D-Log. Shooting in log results in higher dynamic range video, which you can color correct later in software, a process that can be greatly streamlined with color LUTs. But if you don't plan to edit and color grade your video in software, the lack of a log gamma curve won't matter. Number 1. DJI Mini 3. In late 2019, DJI introduced their first sub-250 grams drone. Since then, 2 other models in the DJI Mini family have been released. The brand new DJI Mini 3 is a slightly pared-down model that offers some improvements compared to its predecessor, the Mini 2, such as longer flight time. Sure, you won't get the advanced features from the Mini 3 Pro, but if you don't need 4K/60p video, obstacle avoidance or subject tracking, or even bells and whistles like hyperlapse, then this might be the lightweight drone for you. Much like the treatment we gave the Mavic 3 Classic last month, this preliminary review will cover our impressions of the Mini 3 and who we think it's most suited for, especially since it's being released into the peak holiday shopping season. Is it worth upgrading from a Mini 2 if you have one already? Or would you be better off looking at the Mini 3 Pro? Let's find out. The Mini 3's design is almost identical to that of the Mini 3 Pro. The gimbal and camera are practically the same. They can rotate to capture social media-friendly vertical video as well. DJI also says the camera's 4-in-1 pixel technology, known elsewhere in the imaging world as Quad Bayer, creates 12 MP images with 2.4mm effective photo sites, compared to the 1.2mm in the Mini 3 Pro's sensor when it output 48 MP images. The Mini 3 flies, handles, and maneuvers just like the Mini 3 Pro. The only real difference is its lack of obstacle avoidance sensors. When I was testing out both side by side, the Pro would beep as it was approaching a tree branch above, which can be handy. Compared to the Mini 2, Mini 3's body is more robust, despite being the same weight, and can handle strong winds much more efficiently. I'd also noticed that the Mini 3's gimbal is far more stable than that of the Mini 2, which in my experience has a tendency to tilt. Right away, I noticed that the Mini 3's camera with its larger Type 1/1.3 to 10/7.5mm sensor and f1.7 aperture gave superior image quality to the Mini 2. The colors are much brighter and the images are cleaner overall with less blotchy noise. This made using the optional DJI RC controller with its built-in LCD a nice experience. Working together, the Mini 3 and DJI RC remote control felt like a modern piloting experience.